Unless you've been living off the grid, or even if you have, I bet you've seen the current video that everybody's talking about online. And I'm talking about the one with the two people at the Coldplay concert. They're singing, they're dancing, and they're sharing what seems to be a romantic moment. And it sounds sweet, right? Well, not quite. See, this is no ordinary couple. It's the CEO of a tech company and his head of HR, both of them which are married, just not to each other. The clip went viral really quickly. People started digging in as the headlines exploded, and now the internet has actually dubbed them the Coldplay Cheaters. Now, up front, I want you to know this. I'm not here to talk about this just for shock value. I really do feel for their families and the way that they're feeling and what they're going through. And I want to say this, none of us are perfect, including myself. But this video is about something that I believe every leader needs to pay attention to. Because this scandal, like so many others that have gone before it, have exposed something that I think is much deeper. This is not just a relationship failure. It's a leadership failure. It's a character crisis that we have. And a reminder that you can't lead people well if you can't lead yourself. So let's break it down and let's get better together. Let's go. Before the scandal, Andy Byron was the CEO of a company called Astronomer. He has since resigned. Astronomer is a tech firm in the data and AI space, and the woman who was filmed with at the concert was the company's head of HR. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's their personal life. What's everyone so upset about? But this is where it might be tough for people to agree. But when you hold a position of power, especially ones tied to trust, it's never just personal. Here's why this blew up. The CEO, the person responsible for setting company vision and values, and the HR executive, the person responsible for protecting employees, those company values, and for enforcing ethical standards, are romantically involved, secretly. And apparently, both of them are married. Now, some might say this kind of thing happens all the time, and maybe so, but that's exactly the problem. See, we've become numb to the collapse of character in leadership. We treat personal integrity like it's optional instead of foundational. See, when the people at the top break the very values that they teach, trust evaporates, culture collapses, and employees, the ones who give their time and their energy, their loyalty, they're left wondering if anything that they've said actually matters. Imagine working at Astronomer right now. You're told your company values transparency and integrity and accountability, but behind the scenes, the CEO and the head of HR, two of the most powerful people in the company, are involved in a secret relationship that violates that trust, it abuses power dynamics, and it puts everyone else in a compromised position. If the person you're supposed to report to or report misconduct to is sleeping with the person committing it, well, where does that leave you? And then there's the leadership perception. When something like this happens, the message isn't, well, we've made a mistake. The message is we're above the rules, and nothing kills culture faster than that. Leadership is always teaching, even when you think no one's watching. You're training your team in what's acceptable, and whether you like it or not, the bar is set by your behavior. So this is the big question as leaders. What can we learn from this? Well, I personally believe that the hardest person that you will ever lead is yourself. I also believe that who you are privately produces who you are publicly, even if it takes time for that truth to reveal itself. So let me offer 3 tips for how a leader should privately build themselves for a sustainable public leadership. Number 1, I think you need to build boundaries. Build boundaries. Leadership without boundaries invites burnout, blurred lines, and compromise. And the problem with most moral failures is that they didn't happen all at once. They didn't happen overnight. They happened inch by inch because the leader never drew the line in advance. So create guardrails for your time. Create guardrails for your relationships, for your communication, and for your emotional needs. And if you're married, set up accountability and guard your closeness with the opposite sex. If you're not, you need to define your relational ethics clearly. People think that this is super extreme, but my wife and I don't travel or eat alone with someone of the opposite sex, regardless if it's business or if it's personal. And it's not because there's a lack of trust in our relationship. It's because we've built boundaries because it matters. So you have to decide the type of person that you want to be, and then you have to build boundaries that will protect you as you grow. And the truth is this, you can't rely on discipline in the moment if you don't establish boundaries beforehand. Private boundaries create public integrity. And then number two, build accountability. Accountability is so important, and most people resist it. See, a result of leadership is that the higher you rise, the fewer people feel like they can speak into your life. Fewer people feel like they can correct you or call you out, which is exactly why you need to invite it into your life. When you're the boss, when you're the manager, the CEO, the leader, or the person of authority, people don't feel permission to call you out. But without honest voices around you, your ego grows, isolation creeps in, and small compromises go unchecked. And the only way to prevent this is to surround yourself with people who don't care about your title, your position, or your authority. You need people who only care about your character, and then give them permission to speak into your life. Ask for feedback, submit to mentorship. Let someone ask you the hard questions about your heart, your habits, and your home life. I have someone in my life that has permission to even call and ask my wife about me. He will ask her if I'm treating her well, if I'm being a good dad, if I'm healthy, if I'm being a good leader. And my wife has the freedom to answer those questions truthfully. See, accountability isn't a threat to your leadership. It's protection for it. If you're the only one checking on you, no one's really checking on you. And then number three, build self-control. We all know about self-control, but this is a tough one to master. And you need to understand that leadership isn't built in the spotlight. It's revealed there. See, the habits, the disciplines, and the choices that you make when no one's looking are the very things that hold up your platform when everyone is looking. So get serious about your private life. Most are simply consumed with what we want people to see or what we want people to think. Instead, worry about what you see and about what you think. I think you should practice humility. I think you should serve others when no one is looking. Find ways to give your life away, not for the spotlight, but for the good. Be generous. Lead your family with the same energy that you lead your team. Make decisions based on values, not the optics. Be consistent, not just impressive. So your public impact is only as strong as your private integrity. What you build in the dark will carry or collapse your influence in the light. What happened at that Coldplay concert is more than a headline. It's a cautionary tale for every leader. Because here's what we forget. Leadership is never just about your talent. It's about your character. You might be the smartest person in the room. You might have the track record. You may have the funding. You may have the big ideas. But if you don't have self-control, honesty, or humility, you'll eventually wreck the very thing that you've spent your time, your energy, and your effort building. Think about this. You lead yourself more than you lead anyone else. You're the only person that you can't escape. And when you fail to manage yourself, your emotions, your integrity, your ego, it's only a matter of time before your life spills into your leadership. See, the companies that last aren't led by perfect people, because none of us are perfect, but they're led by people who take responsibility. People who live with integrity even when no one is clapping. People who are the same behind closed doors as they are on the stage. And it's not flashy, it's not trending, but it's the only thing that makes leadership sustainable. So while the internet makes jokes about the Coldplay Cheaters, and there's some good ones out there, I hope leaders are paying attention here, not to the gossip, but to the gap. The gap between what we say and how we live. the gap between influence and integrity. Because at the end of the day, you can't lead people well if you can't lead yourself. And if you don't take that seriously, someone else will, with a camera, a hashtag, and a reminder of what happens when character doesn't keep up with your title. Hey, if this video was helpful, will you like, share, and subscribe? And if you need someone to help with your culture, your morale, your employee or customer experience in your organization, check me out at brandonmatthews.com. I would love to help. Remember that the greatest legacy you leave won't be what you built. It'll be who you were while you were building it. I'll see you on the next one.